Hello and welcome to The Kitchen Knitter. I'm Suzanne and this is my little place on YouTube where I share with you what I've been knitting and stitching and sewing. I'm recording this in my craft room, which I think I will do from now on, rather than the kitchen, and we'll see what the algorithm thinks about that. I overthink things and I'm just gonna go with it. Let's see what happens. So it's Sunday and it's very quiet. I've not been able to podcast for a couple of weeks. I want, or at least a week or so. I think I was going to do it a week ago. And we're in a new build. I've explained we've moved house, but we're on a new build, and the road, our little cul-de-sac, there's only 7 houses. Our little cul-de-sac the road's being resurfaced, the curbstones are being replaced, and the pavements are being finished. I mean, I think they've come so far around the corner, and that's it. So I've also had a bit of a change around in my sewing room, and I'm now sitting by the window where I've got my sewing table. I'll see again how that works. I'm not sure. So you've got a bit of a different view. This little bits and pieces around. Anyway, I will get on with it. So knitting. I have finished my temperate jumper. This is a pattern by Kim Hargreaves, and it is from her book Still, and it's got a little frilly cuffs and frilly bottom, and you to get that frilly bottom you have to cast on hundreds of stitches and then spend the next 2 rows decreasing to a certain number of stitches, and then you get that frill, which is really effective. But when you've got all those stitches on the needle, however, and then it's a reversed stocking stitch around the neck. I haven't blocked this, I pressed it, so I think it's fitted. It's a fitted jumper. There's no positive ease, and if there was, I would take it up. So it's a bit warm today to put these things on, and I'm a bit shy of modelling things. Anyway, that's my perfectly plain stocking stitch. I think you call those a set-in sleeve, and yeah, I knitted it in. No, I didn't. Knitted it in. That doesn't sound right, does it? I used Gepard's Wild and Soft, a yarn I bought from Tangled Yarn, and it is, I think this is the colourway Rose, and the yarn is, I think, 60% merino, 40% tussar silk. It's merino and tussar silk. I haven't got the ball band now. Finished the garment, tidied out the knitting bag, and that's it. So I've got one finished object. It was knitted on very, very fine needles. You start off on 2 and 2.75 and then knit the rest on 3mm needles. The original pattern was for kid silk mohair, Rowan kid silk mohair, held double. I didn't fancy that amount of mohair next to the skin, whereas this is really soft, so I used this. I think it's okay. I mean, I've not checked the gauge or anything like that. I don't do things like that. That would have been the sensible thing to do. I've just sort of knitted it. I think the tensions were matched up, I think. But anyway, I just went for it, and I've got a nice jumper for the autumn now to wear with jeans probably. That's the other thing, and my wardrobe's changing now. Apart from my taste is changing a little bit, I'm going back to my greys and inky blues, which I've never really left, but I have tried, and even through the summer I wear quite dark colours, or white. I've got a couple of white tops that I would wear. Yeah, so, but I certainly don't need the amount of clothes I had before, but I don't need to have so many dresses really. I don't want to live in jeans, but they are handy. So, finished object. So the other thing that I've been focusing on, I think I've told you everything about that now, haven't I? I think this has come across about 4 podcasts. So there's, if you can bear it, go back and have a look. I think there's a podcast where I actually show the book, but it's still by Kim Hargreaves. So the other thing I've been knitting, another whip. This is a whip. Is the Cumulus blouse by Petite Knit. I think there's a better picture. There we are. And again, I'm not knitting it in, would you say the call for, or the recommended yarn? The recommended yarn. I had some of this. I bought 6, again from Tangled Yarn. I bought 6 balls of this because I liked it. I thought the colour was gorgeous, and it's, there we go. It's alpaca, but it's not a what would you call it? You would pair it with something else, you know, like a mohair that you would use instead. I've used this instead of mohair. That's what I'm trying to say, and I'm holding it double. So, and I've got the tension that both the yarns would achieve. So I haven't finished it, but I am actually on a sleeve. So I'm not sure I've made the right decision. I don't often do this. I don't often go off-piste and use a yarn that hasn't been recommended, because I think, well, they've done all the hard work for you, and who am I to? Because I don't trust my judgment. So let me just, I'm holding it in my redesign bag. There, so I've done the bottom. I finished the bottom, and it is an I-cord bind off, which I've never done before, but it's, once you get into the rhythm, it makes sense. I must admit, I had to go and watch a YouTube video because I couldn't quite understand the instructions properly. Although I have done I-cords before, but not as a cast off. So I've done that bit, but I'm hoping that when I block this, it smooths out. It's got a sort of a bit of a lumpy look to it, and this seems a bit long, because in the pattern, I suppose it is quite deep. It's there, isn't it? It's quite deep. It just looks a bit. Well, I can always wear something underneath it, a little cami underneath it. That, you know, I probably would wear something underneath it. It's quite diaphanous. So I've done the body, and it's curling up, and apparently that you do the I-cord binding to avoid it curling up, but I'm hoping that when I block it, that will sort itself out. But it's very, I don't know, I'm not, but when I sort of knitting it and thinking, I'm not actually sure I like this in this yarn, I was further on than was, and I've just going to cork that on something. So I'm knitting the sleeves on circular needles. These are the 9-inch circulars. They look really big because they've got the proper sized. They're not like the 9-inch circulars that you use for knitting, and these are 4.5, and they are Chigu. Yeah. No, they're not 9-inch circulars. I'm talking rubbish. They're 16-inch. I thought that when I was looking at them, I thought that's too big. No, there they are. 16 inch, which is a 40 centimeters, and that's fine. But what I'll have to do is go down onto a 9 inch as I come down the sleeve, as I'm decreasing. Yeah, as I'm decreasing. No, they are 16 inch, 40 inch, 4.5. So we'll see. We'll see what this is like when it's finished. I'm thinking it might be nice when it's blocked. I mean, it's a gorgeous colour and it's gorgeous yarn. It's beautiful. It doesn't look, when you get the ball like that it's going to look like that when you knit it. But then again, you're supposed to hold this with something else. So maybe I'm breaking the rules and I shouldn't be doing this. I don't know. But anyway, you don't know until you try. So it's a number. It is colourway 1032. It's a beautiful dove grey. Gorgeous. Gorgeous colour. So we'll see. So I'm down one sleeve and knitting on 4.5mm needles. It grows. Just every now and again I look at it and think, But I do that a lot with my knitting. I don't trust my judgment, and then sometimes I think I'm not sure I like that. I don't know. I think sometimes though it's because I've been looking at it too long. I'm taking too long to knit it, and I'm just getting a little bit bored of it. Well, because I've finished something, I've cast something else on, and I've only literally just cast it on. And it's another petite knit pattern, and it's the Hannah sweater. I think that might be it's a dark yarn. It's gorgeous, but you can see the kind of the V-neck on that one. So and this one has a lot of positive ease in it. It's quite slouchy, and I'm knitting it in the called for yarn, the recommended yarn, which is Sandnes Garn Atlas, and you knit these on 4mm needles. I thought they were 4.5, 4mm needles, and I have literally just started. And this, you start by knitting the yoke, and you're doing the left and the right shaping there. So it's that way up, isn't it? That's obviously you'll cast on pick up stitches to do the neck, but that's the back yoke. It's all curling up there. I'll just show you how it's really nice to knit with. It's nice and neat. It's making my knitting look really neat. See, it's a complete contrast to the other jumper. Very similar colours, but then I do like grey. See, that looks really nice and neat. Quite pleased with that. And then the shaping. So I have literally just started that. I think I bought 10 balls. So I'm doing medium. I'm doing the medium size. And it's Atlas. And this colourway is Grey Melange 1042. Grey Melange. So I've just started that, and on Chigo needles as well. I'm slowly replacing all my Knit Pro. There was nothing wrong with Knit Pro really. I've had them a long time, but they're starting to wear, and the points aren't quite as pointy, and I think my glasses are filthy. Everything's looking a bit blurry. And anyway, yes, so when I do a new project, if I haven't got the needles in Chigo, then I send for some from Tangled Yarn. They've got a very, very good selection. So that's the knitting. I mean, I have been knitting on other things. I've got a pair of socks which are kitchen knitting when the potatoes are boiling. I think I've shown you them, and I'm nearly done with the second sock. So when they're finished, I'll show you them, but you've seen them before. Very plain socks. And I have abandoned my green jumper because it's just too warm to knit with at the moment. We've had a a spell of hot weather, which I don't particularly like, and it's just wasn't really comfortable to knit with that, because it's quite, I'm knitting that with Sandesgarn mohair, and I'm not using the mohair, I'm using the same as the grey yarn, and Sandesgarn Sunday. And it's nowhere near me, so I don't know why I'm talking about it, because I can't get it to show you, but I've not done anything on that. It's still sort of about here, but it's a winter cardigan, so I've got plenty of time to do it. And there's a couple of other lapsed projects that I've been focusing on, but again, you've seen them in previous podcasts, so I'll show you them when I finish them. I do intend to finish them. I have nothing but time now. So I'll show you what I've been stitching. Well, I'll do the sewing first. I made a Luna. I mean, you've seen hundreds and hundreds of Lunas. She's a very pretty little rabbit, and I usually make them to give away presents or grandchildren, or when I was working, I used to do them as raffle prizes, make them as a raffle prize, and that was quite successful. And then I thought, well, I'm going to make myself a Luna, and I did, and she very patiently waited a long time for a dress. So I've sewn this dress. She's now waiting patiently for the buttons to go on the back, but they're teeny tiny buttons, and I can't find them. I've put them somewhere safe, and I can't find them. I'm not doing buttonholes. She's going to get sewn into a dress, because the buttonholes are absolutely tiny, and I'm not buttonholes are not my friend anyway. So she's got her. This came as a kit. I mean, Luna can come as a kit, or you can buy everything separately if you've got all the other bits. You've got the pattern and all the other bits and pieces. So this came as a kit. It's Luna's dress and car coat, and I've got the coat, which is a maroon felt to make. But she's got her dress. She's respectable, pretty little dress with rick-rack on the. You get all that in the rick-rack, and get the white fabric for the collar, rick-rack around her sleeves. There. There we go. And she sits. I move her about the room actually, but she's very pretty little rabbit, very pretty with her Liberty print ears. So that's one bit of sewing, and another bit of sewing is I finished. Oh, and it's over here. Excuse me. Not something over there. My little granddaughter has a teepee in her bedroom. We bought it for her. I can't remember if we bought it because her birthday and Christmas are days apart. I can't remember if we bought it for Christmas or her birthday now. Anyway, and I thought, oh, I'll make her a quilt for the bottom, just so she can sit in the bottom of it. Now, her ideal colour is pink, but this sort of reflects the colours of the teepee, well, particularly that one. So now there's some mistakes in this. I bought the fabric as a little, I think they were fat eighths bundle, and originally I wanted to put a yellow gingham around as a border, but there wasn't enough fabric. So I've kind of put this together myself. So there are flaws, but I think I'm showing you, my squares are not brilliant. Some of them are absolutely fine. I would never say perfect, but some are I've just missed on some, and I don't know why there's a crease there. So I stitched in I think that's where I've missed stitching. I stitched in the ditch just to keep everything together. I quite like the look of a patchwork quilt, so I didn't want to do. I would maybe have cross hatched it, but not do all the wiggly bits. And I think you can see there are, in a couple of places, there's two fabrics together, which, oh no, that's on the right angles, but somewhere, anyway, there's a couple of fabrics where there's two together. There's only one or two, but even so. But I didn't buy enough, I don't think I bought enough material to do more squares. And what I did was I bought the bundle and then decided to make it bigger. So I then put on a bigger border here, and then used that fabric to bind it. So it's got that border, and then this panel, and then this, and it's backed with a matching the gingham, the blue gingham. But I mean, my granddaughter is not going to look at it and think, oh, Grandma could do better. So I think it's just be a nice little thing to sit on. And she's got all the fabrics are gorgeous. I mean, this one particularly is absolutely gorgeous. I've got some left, and I'm going to make her a sun hat out of that. It's gorgeous. It's called not Forever Friends. Something Friends. But it's by Moda. I thought it was Andover Fabrics, but it's Moda, but maybe it's Moda for Andover Fabric. I don't know. It was a little bundle from my local, it's actually the Leicestershire Craft Centre in Market Harborough. And I mean, it's got a very small section of fabric, quilting cottons and dressmaking fabrics. And it's got a good haberdashery, but the space is mainly taken over to workshops. There's lots of sewing machines, and there's always a lesson going on. Ladies learning to make trousers or something like that. There's a and I think they do it over a couple of weeks. But you can go in and browse. So I bought this. You can see some of the other fabrics that were in the bundle. If anybody really wants to know what fabrics I used, I can answer you in the comments. I can dig out. I've got some left over, and I'm sure on the selvage it tells you. Something Friends. Little Friends, something like that. Anyway, it's lovely. It's lovely cotton. And I can give this to my granddaughter now. I've shown it to you. Actually, it was quite nice sitting on my basket over there. So my stitching, how are we doing for time? My stitching, I thought this would be a very short podcast, but I think I'm talking too much. So I have subscribed to the Stitchery's Time for Tea, and every month you get a kit. And I think this was January's. So I'm way behind, but I did an awful lot of unpicking when I was doing this. Isn't it beautiful? It's the Stitchery, Nikki Franklin. Gorgeous, gorgeous work. Beautiful. And I'm quite new to embroidery, so I'm a bit, and that's still in the hoop. So I think it's a bit ham-fisted, but I've soldiered on, and that's what I've done so far. So I'm filling in the little teacup, and I've got to do some, these are French knots. So I've got to do some French knots for the valerian. This is lavender, and they were bullion knots. So, I mean, but I watched a couple of YouTube videos, and this is chamomile. And then in between, I don't know if you can quite see on the picture, but in between, I think you can see there, you've got to sort of put in some little bits of greenery and leaves. And this one is A Good Night's Sleep. And I believe number 5 is on its way, so I need to crack on. But this shouldn't take me too long. I've been taking it into the gardens and sitting, because I don't need a magnifying lamp. I just need good light, and it's in the sunshine. Well, I don't sit in the sunshine. I'm sit in the shade, but on a sunny day, I've got plenty of light, and it's quite pleasant actually, doing a bit of embroidery, and I've really enjoyed it. I've enjoyed how it all comes together, ham-fisted or not. But I think to be honest, the more I do it, the practice makes perfect, doesn't it? So I'm quite pleased with that. And so I obviously will carry on doing them doing the next ones as well, but I'll finish this one first. And the idea is you put it on like a postcard. Oh, I've not got the... Yeah, you put it on, I think you get some stabilizer, but you then put it on this lovely, looks like handmade paper, gorgeous. And then the idea is maybe you pop them in an antique vintage tea chest. I don't know if I'll do that. I haven't got a tea chest. I've got a tin from Fortnum and Mason that we had at Christmas, and I've kept that, but that doesn't quite, it's not quite as aesthetically pleasing as an antique tea caddy. But anyway, I'm going to carry on with that. I've done more than I've got to do. So, and then you get, if you want to, you can sew these little labels on it. It's been typed, a good night's sleep, and chamomile, what does that say? Chamomile, echinacea and lavender. It's echinacea, it says valerian on the instructions, but anyway, doesn't matter. So you can put those on the bottom and finish it off. So, and these, they're lovely, lovely kits. Well, I mean, everything that comes from Nikki's and Sarah, her sister, are absolutely gorgeous. And these are the threads. Lovely. So I've got to crack on and hopefully catch up. So, but I'm not being as critical about my work as I was in the beginning. I thought I sort of gave myself a bit of a talking to and thought, you're going to put yourself off. You're just not going to do it. Just do it and see what happens. And to be honest, as I'm doing it, yeah, it's looking better. My French knots were starting to look like French knots rather than just a squiggle. The other thing I'll just show you all the sort of the stitching I've been, nothing's finished, but I was stitching this. And note to self, don't sign up for stitch alongs or say you're going to do it, just do it sort of, is the word vicariously? I don't know. I'm just going to sew along with at the time, and because I signed up to do the across the pond stitch along, and it was this beautiful Stacey Nash chart, which is the Bees and Birds sewing roll, biscotti and scissor fob. Absolutely beautiful, gorgeous. So, and I think you I think you started in January and it finished in April, and that's how much I've done, which is not very much because I had a bit of a disaster with this bit. I was stitching away and then I was doing one colour, because I don't know if you can see, you put one colour in, then you put the dolphin in, and then down here is another colour. It's a shape. I can't show you the chart, but it's this here. I think that's a peacock. It's going all fuzzy now. There. I mean, I think loads of people are doing this. So I had to unpick it. It just wasn't right. I had to fill in with like 4 or 5 stitches or something, and I didn't have enough space to put 5. I thought, oh, I've done something. My counting's off. So, but it's such a pretty. It's going to be it's a sewing roll, so I mean I will use it. And I'm stitching this on all the called for, which is Weeks Dye Works linen in the colourway beige, and then all the called for threads, which are these. And as usual, Stacey Nash chooses the most beautiful colours combination. There, you can sort of see. All Weeks Dye Works. And I keep it all together in my lovely bag from the Stitchery. Nikki and Sarah's mum, Glynis, she makes them, and it's beautiful. This is a gorgeous Acufactum fabric, absolutely beautiful. So it's suddenly gone very warm. It wasn't supposed to rain today, but there are clouds gathering out there. It's gone quite dark. So I've got that one to finish or crack on with. Just dropped everything, excuse me. There we go. Right, another one. Oh, this one. I had a bit of a disaster with this one. I've been doing this for a while, and then I fell out with it because, and it is, and I mean, it's a small thing, and it's gorgeous. It's by the Scarlet House, and it's just I think I'm not au fait with all the technical terms, but I think this is a small, and it's absolutely lovely, very pretty. And this is my progress, and I thought I was feeling rather pleased with myself as to how much I'd done, but there is a huge mistake, and I don't know whether you can, yeah, you can see it. Well, I know where it is, so I can see it, but you will spot it immediately. There, it's off. It's just off. One's higher than the other, which means that I went from this side to this side, so it means that's in the wrong place, and I think that will be in the wrong place because I've sort of, I don't know why I've done it. I don't know how I did it, because I've obviously miscounted across the wrong way. I'm not still entirely sure how you do all that sort of thing, but I sort of go off from one thing to the next. So if that's in the wrong place, then obviously that's going to be in the wrong place. And also, when I originally did, ages ago when I started it, these two dogs are in two different colours. Should be in the same colour. And I think it has to be pointed out because it could just look like the light, but they're in the wrong place. So I'm going to have to unpick it, but I do so much unpicking on this because I'm very self-critical. Can you see it more there? I do that. Can you see? Oh, and there's a bit of me thinking, oh, I'll just leave it, you know, sort of my rookie error. And I thought, no, because everything else is going to be off sync, isn't it? And I thought, no, but I just haven't got the heart to unpick it now. And it's all the colours are lovely colours. They're all classic colour works. They're not very many. It's all gorgeous colours. Beautiful. That blue is beautiful. And what's that? Yeah, gorgeous. So I've sort of put it away. I thought I'll unpick it and start. I will unpick it and do it again. But it's just such a lovely. It's Elizabeth's Four Dogs. So in my bag I made myself. This is in French General. So what else? What's in this one? Oh well, I'll show you. I'll show you this one first. Last month I went to, is it this one? Yes, I went on a day workshop because I can do that now. I've moved down here. I live about half an hour away from the Stitchery. It's lovely. I was there last year in July for a week, Christmas in July, and little did I know that this time the following year I'd be living half an hour away. So I went to one of Sarah's workshops, and we did an animal cracker, and we did Miss Hazel. Well, we started Miss Hazel, and you're given all the stuff, the pattern, the threads, and all the finishing as well, and a jute bag, oops, and a jute bag. So I'm keeping it all in here for the moment. So I'll show you how much I've done. You'd think I would have finished it, but no. And you've got the finishing, some fabric and some ribbon to finish to do the little heart, the scissor fob. I don't know whether I'll do that or not, I don't know, we'll see. But so my progress with Miss Hazel, you got the linen as well, you get everything to do that project, and lunch as well on the day, and you sit there with like-minded people. I've met some lovely people, and you stitch, and that's as much as I've done, because true to form I had to unpick this bit here, because it just wasn't matching up. Again, my counting was off. So I sort of think, oh, I won't do any more on it. I'm hopeless at this, not doing it. But I've picked it up again. So I'm doing that bit there, across there. But it's lovely to do. You're stitching it, and you kind of just see the whole thing coming to life, really. It's still got in the colours. It's a Stacey Nash pattern, and of course the colours are gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. So the linen is needle bling suede, and I asked for 36 count. You could request the count on your linen, or you could request Ada. You could make the request. And I think a couple of ladies had already stitched Miss Hazel, so they did something else. I'm not quite sure what they did, but they did another Stacey Nash pattern. So that's that one. So that's all in the bag. And when I was there, I bought a couple of other charts, and one of them I bought was this one, another Stacey Nash pattern. No. There we go. And I think this is another very popular one, and this is Pip. Stacey Nash. Why have I got trouble saying that? Stacey Nash. Pip and cottage sewing block, and I will do both of those because I think the sewing block's beautiful as well, but I'm working on Pip at the moment. Such a little cutie. So again, I'm working on the called for fabric, linen, which is Fox and Rabbit Saltbush. Now this one's 40 count. Yeah, this one is 40 count. And there she is. It's so lovely, and I love this linen. Gorgeous. And I bought the thread pack. Did I buy the thread pack? Anyway, no, actually, I've got my little tag there. I'm using 36 count, not 40. I only had a 36 count, so I don't. Is that going to make it bigger, smaller? I don't know. It changes it somewhat, but it's not. It can be done, kind of thing. I find 40 count a bit hard on the old eyes, but 36 great. I mean, I have to use my magnifying light and a light and the magnifier, and I tend to use that little ultra magnifier as well. So these are all the threads. All Week's Dye Works. Gorgeous threads. I love that green there, that one there. Oh, that's lovely. And that is Cadet, that one. Lovely. Cadet. Or cadet. Cadet, cadet, don't know. So, yes, so I'll plod on with that one. I remember to take them out of the hoops. I've ironed them. Just need to crack on. Just need to get going. Instead of sitting there navel gazing. Actually, the garden's taking up a bit of my time. We're building a garden from scratch as a new build. You only get the grass, and we've put one of these grow and store sheds in. It's half a shed, half a greenhouse, and so I've been growing a lot from seed because I like the planting. I'm not big on garden design. I just like lovely borders, and I went to Chelsea Plough Show last Friday and got loads of ideas, and that because that seemed to be the theme, was densely planted borders, iris and verbascum and foxgloves and all sort of cottage garden plants, but with a nod to wildlife and sustainability and things like that. It was lovely. Gosh, it was hot. It was hot and busy, but a glass of Pimm's and a glass of champagne got me through. See, that's the other thing with the living. I mean, we've only moved 100 miles south, but we jumped on a train. I went with my son-in-law. We jumped on a train in Rugby, and we were in London in an hour. And then he's very, very familiar with London, and he, right, we need to go this way and that way. We walked from. We got the tube. We had a couple of changes. Victoria, then to Sloane Street. Anyway, we got off at Sloane Street and walked, and it was absolutely lovely. We walked the entrance that we walked in from, and I think there were more than one. Arrett's garden, for Parkinson's disease, was on my left as you walked in. That was such a beautiful garden, and it was tiny. That's the thing with you see them on television, and they look, I think because they do an awful lot of aerial shots, don't they? But it was tiny, but she had put so much into this space. It was absolutely beautiful. I took a few photographs of the planting, because they were all the plants that I love. The roses and foxgloves and delphiniums, verbascums, lots of geums. That was another one that was popular. Geums, peonies. Actually, it was a very popular garden. Actually, you had to wait to get to the front so you could have a proper look. But we went out that entrance, and I got a few more photographs. And Sophie Allpott's shop was across the way. I may have made a couple of purchases there. So that's another Acufactum bag I made. Gaylord geese, beautiful. The bag's not beautiful. Beautiful fabric. My work is not beautiful. And the last bit of stitching is a pattern I've been doing for a while, and last year I bought two without realizing. So I gave one away as a gift away, and Natalie from Sewing Room Secrets won. And we decided and she contacted me and said, would you like to stitch it together? We'll stitch along together. And I did, but I wondered that I'm not very quick. And well, I've done this much, and I'm not sure I've done any more since I showed it to you last time. And Natalie has finished. It's fully finished. She has a pin drum, and it's beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. Natalie, if you don't know, has a lovely YouTube channel called Sewing Room Secrets. It's Floss Tube, and she's only just started. I think there's 3 or 4 videos, and they're all absolutely wonderful, so inspiring. And hers, and it's made me sort of think, right, stop this languishing, and this as a languishing whip, and get cracking and finish it, because it does look absolutely beautiful. What I'd like to do is put it on like a candlestick, because it's pin drum sitting on a candlestick. That's what I'd like to do, but I'm a long way off that yet. But I think I just need to sort of chip away at these things, do, you know, half an hour here and half an hour there on them, and not start any more until I've finished this one. And because it's gorgeous. It's a fox and rabbit design, and it's the Ann Harper pin drum. I mean, that's what it looks like flat, and that's, I've got some of that done. I've still got a bit to go, and then you've got the house, and then it's repeated on the other side, and then you've got charts for these two little things if you want to do them. But the pin drum is beautiful. So all the call for yarns I'm using, and they are a selection of DMCs and Weeks Dye Works. Lovely, lovely colours, lovely. And I put the, tell you what I'm using. It's a 36 count Shrekky's Tan. The called for linen is Desert Taipan, 36 count Desert Taipan, but I'm using, what did I say, Shrekky's Tan, 36 count Shrekky's Tan, which looked very similar. Again, I've probably made completely the wrong choice, but I didn't have it, and I couldn't, they were out of stock at Peak Dye Works, Peakside Needleworks. I don't know what Peak Dye Works is, where I've got that from. There we are. So that is everything. So well, it's not technically everything, because I did, at Christmas, I bought Sarah from Stitchery Sisters, I bought the Christmas, I think it's called the Christmas stitching box, or is it the Christmas Eve? It's not a Christmas Eve stitch, but it came at Christmas, and there were lots of packets. I opened something every day. I think it wasn't quite 12, but it was a lovely, lovely box. You got the chart. No, hang on. That's what it is. There. That is the chart. Absolutely gorgeous and quite ambitious for me, I think, but I will take it slowly, as I do. And some gorgeous paper, beautiful. You got a thread legend, and you got the linen, you got the threads, you got, I haven't used this, but you got one of these guards, the handmade guards, so just keep your work clean. But I think these work best on those Q grips, and I use a hoop. I think you could actually use it on a hoop too, but I think it works better on the grip, the square grips, Q grips I think they're called. I can't work those. I'm not. And you got, I think I've shown you this, but you've got some gorgeous, which I'm not using, floss drops with the pattern on. You did get, which I've got on the threads. Oh, I've got the threads in my hand. You got a lovely floss drop, I think you call those, floss drop, and then all the Weeks Dye Works threads. So I'm going to work slowly through that. And you also got some of the little bits and pieces as well. You've got things to finish it with, and it smells gorgeous in here because there's a melt, a wax melt. a botanical wax melt. Merry Christmas! But oh, it smells lovely. You got that. So the whole little bag smells gorgeous. What else did you get? Oh, you got a needle minder, Stitchery Sisters needle minder, and a needle threader. Very pretty little needle threader. So I've had a little go, and that's as far as I've got. I might not even be holding this up the right way. I think I am. Yes, that goes to this. That goes off sideways. There. So that's the left-hand corner. Just started. I just wanted to have a go, really. Lovely. So that's a start. I think the term is. So hopefully I will have something finished. I don't think anything will be fully finished, but finished. So, oh, I have got to finish. I have got to finish. Not a fully finish, but a finish. Just sitting in my little sewing basket is bobbin. And I haven't got the pattern with me. This is a Stacey Nash pattern, but I've sewn it up. What I haven't done, I keep forgetting to do, is put the whiskers on. So it's not, I can't even really say it's finished, but I've stuffed it with just toy stuffing that I had. But I was listening to one of Nikki's Patreon videos, recordings, and she was talking to Emma from Rose Cottage. Anyway, they were mentioning that they preferred walnut shells to sawdust or toy stuffing, but I've just put toy stuffing in here. But I need to put the whiskers on, and then what I'd like to do is on the front of the pattern is bobbin sits on a vintage sewing bobbin, but I haven't got one. I have got a couple of vintage ones, but they've got beveled tops. I want a flat one. So at the moment she's just sitting in my sewing box. But she was a sweet little thing to do. You sort of start at the top, and then it all just comes to life, like a picture emerging. It's absolutely lovely. I think I cut it too close, so it kind of lose a bit. But that was my first. So there. Right. Well, I think that's it. I've had to stop and start this. Somebody was coming to the door. Anyway, I'll put it together so it looks seamless, and hopefully I'll see you again soon. If I have to record on a Sunday, which it doesn't really matter what day it is, does it really? And I'll have some new things to show you and some finishes, hopefully. I've been getting up very early in the morning, these light mornings, because our bedroom is up in the loft. This is a chalet bungalow, and we've got Velux windows, but we've opened them because of the warm nights. We've opened them, but so of course it lets all the light in. We've got blinds on the Velux windows, but because they're open, the sun comes streaming in at 4 o'clock in the morning, 4:30. So I come down because I'm not going to get back to sleep. So I come down, make a cup of tea, and sometimes just sit and knit or read or yeah. So I've got that extra sewing time. Anyway, I hope you're all well, and I hope you're enjoying this sunshine. I'm enjoying the blue skies and the lovely sunny weather, but it's the heat I don't like. I don't like it. So, and all the watering I have to do with the garden, because a lot of the plants are new, so they need lots of water as they settle in. But anyway, it's princess problems, isn't it? Princess problems. But I'm going to go with some of the other podcasts and say, give me an emoji if you watch to the end, and put, I'm not sure if there's, I'm going to say a ladybird. I'm sure there's a ladybird emoji, or write the word ladybird. I do like ladybirds. I found a few in the garden as I've been watering, and yeah, they seem to be enjoying the sunny weather. Anyway, thank you again. Thank you for all your lovely comments. Thank you for watching. Take care. Bye.